Picture this: a nation once hailed as the Paris of South America, now grappling with economic turmoil that seems to have no end. How did Argentina, once among the world's wealthiest countries, become synonymous with debt crises and hyperinflation? It's a tale of riches to rags that'll make your head spin. Welcome to the Economy Unpacked Daily YouTube channel. From Wall Street to your street, we share the world of money in a clear way. Argentina's economic roller coaster ride is a story that'll leave you scratching your head. At the dawn of the 20th century, this South American powerhouse was the envy of the world. Its bustling ports, fertile pampas, and thriving cattle ranches attracted immigrants and investors from far and wide. Argentina's GDP per capita rivaled economic giants like France and Germany. But, as they say, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. The seeds of Argentina's downfall were sown in the murky waters of political instability and populist policies. Instead of investing in long-term productivity, successive governments opted for the quick fix of debt-fueled consumption. They spent like there was no tomorrow, relying on short-term borrowing to finance lavish subsidies and social programs. It was like maxing out credit cards to throw a never-ending party. By the late 20th century, the hangover hit hard. Argentina faced its first major defaults, sending shockwaves through global markets and leaving investors with a nasty case of buyer's remorse. But here's where things get really interesting. Argentina's debt problem isn't just a one-off mishap. It's more like a never-ending merry-go-round of financial misery. Picture this: the government spends more than it earns, so it borrows money from international creditors or institutions like the IMF. But when the economy slows down, exports drop, or global interest rates rise, Argentina finds itself unable to pay back what it owes. So, what does it do? It restructures its debt, often under painful conditions, only to borrow again to cover immediate needs. It's like trying to dig yourself out of a hole by digging deeper. Each time this happens, Argentina's credibility takes another hit, making future loans more expensive and pushing the country further into the debt spiral. Now, let's talk about hyperinflation, the economic equivalent of a horror movie. Argentina has lived through several episodes of this financial nightmare. We're talking about inflation rates of over 50% per month. Imagine waking up every day to find your money is worth less than it was yesterday. That's the reality Argentinians faced in the late 1980s, again during the 2001 crisis, and more recently with inflation rates that, while not technically hyperinflation, still reached eye-watering triple digits. The government's go-to solution: printing more money to finance deficits. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. This short-term fix only fuels inflationary expectations, leading people to ditch the peso faster than you can say economic crisis and scramble for US dollars instead. The effect on ordinary citizens is nothing short of catastrophic. Wages become worthless faster than you can earn them. Savings evaporate like water in the desert. People are forced to turn to informal markets just to survive. It's economic chaos in its purest form. Enter the International Monetary Fund, riding in like a knight in shining armor. Or is it? Argentina has become one of the IMF's largest and most frequent borrowers. On the surface, these bailouts look like a lifeline, providing critical short-term liquidity and preventing total economic collapse. But here's the catch: they often come with strings attached. We're talking strict austerity measures, cuts to social spending, reduced subsidies, higher taxes that create a political and social backlash that would make your head spin. Critics argue that these bailouts are just kicking the can down the road, allowing Argentina to delay much-needed structural reforms while piling on more debt. Supporters, on the other hand, claim that without these bailouts, the economy would implode entirely. It's a classic case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. This tension between short-term relief and long-term sustainability is at the heart of Argentina's ongoing struggle. But let's not forget the human cost of all this economic turmoil. Behind the mind-boggling numbers and complex financial jargon are millions of Argentinians whose lives are turned upside down by these recurring crises. Hyperinflation and debt defaults aren't just abstract concepts. They translate into real-world consequences like skyrocketing unemployment, rising poverty, and widening inequality. Ordinary citizens take to the streets in protest as their wages lag hopelessly behind inflation and their hard-earned savings vanish into thin air. The political landscape becomes a revolving door of instability, with populist leaders rising to power on promises of economic salvation only to perpetuate the cycle with more unsustainable policies. It's like watching the same movie over and over again, hoping for a different ending. Over time, these repeated crises erode trust in every institution: banks, governments, even the currency itself. This erosion creates fertile ground for alternative ideologies and anti-establishment movements, making economic recovery an even more daunting challenge. But here's the kicker. Argentina's story isn't just a cautionary tale for developing nations. It's a wake-up call for countries around the world, including economic powerhouses like the US, UK, and parts of Europe. As debt levels rise globally, the dangers of excessive borrowing and reliance on short-term fixes become all too apparent. The debt spiral that has ensnared Argentina isn't some exotic phenomenon unique to emerging markets. Developed nations to face similar risks if they ignore the principles of fiscal discipline. The lesson here is crystal clear. Transparency, accountability, and sustainable borrowing practices aren't just nice-to-haves, they're essential for long-term economic stability. Ignoring these principles might not lead to immediate collapse, but as Argentina's experience shows, the fall from prosperity can be swift and brutal. So, where does this leave us? Argentina's economic history is both a tragedy and a masterclass in what not to do. It demonstrates in vivid detail how poor fiscal management, political instability, and an addiction to external debt can trap a nation in seemingly endless cycles of crisis. But it also raises critical questions for the global economy. Will other nations heed Argentina as cautionary tale? Or are they doomed to repeat its mistakes? As we wrap up this economic roller coaster ride, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. Do you think Argentina will ever escape the debt cycle? Or is this its permanent destiny? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive into global economics enlightening, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more insights into how nations rise and fall. Share this video with anyone you know who is curious about the intricate dance of money and power on the world stage. Until next time, keep your eyes on the economic horizon.